You know, this whole whiskey advent calendar experience is like being a kid again. I find myself anticipating the next opening every day, every morning when I get home from work. I get so excited about it that there was one day, a couple days ago, I forgot to wet my whistle before starting. So this time I'm going to make sure that I do wet my whistle and get my taste acclimatized to some extent, which I didn't do that morning. And of course, I got hit with a cask strength blast of spice. And okay, the spice was easier to take after the first sip, like the second, third sip were easier. But still, I was not prepared for that first initial something. It's always a good idea to get your taste buds acclimatized. So what I'm using now is some Johnny Walker red rye finish, and I'm going to get my tongue and palate um, set up for this whatever it is. I don't know. I haven't looked at the label yet. Um, well, let's see what we got here. It is now day 6, and day 6 is on the bottom right. So now I'm going to reach in here, open this up like so. Come on, you. Don't get stuck. I'm going to grab number day 6 and not look at the label and come over here and record another segment. Okay, we got a nice bright morning for a change. As you can see, the sun is shining through the kitchen window and illuminating the tubes and boxes behind me. So I didn't have to turn a light on back there. That's natural sunlight. Anyways, I have here a clean glass, and I have here the sample. Let's get this guy open. Another tight one. And let's pour it this way, from the left hand into the glass. All right. We have another straw-colored wonder here with a hint of red, and it's bubbly. Did I rinse this glass out properly? Or is it just bubbly? Interesting. Okay. Is that soap bubbles, or is that from the whiskey? That's strange that it has a surface tension like that. If I blow on them, they disappear. That's a good sign, I guess. Let's see what we got in the way of what's happening with the legs. They seem to go down fast and leave a rim up here. And now there is a little legs coming off the rim very slowly. I don't know if you can see that from here. Maybe you can. Oh, I got a whiff of peat. Now, yes, I don't want to look at the label. It's peated, and there's sherry. Peat and sherry. And the sherry seems to be kind of sweet. Sweet sherry notes. And peat. So it's probably some kind of Islay whiskey with a Pedro Jimenez finish, perhaps. I don't know. It could be a Highland with Oloroso finish, for all I know. with peat. It's got a lovely nose though. It's sweet and inviting. It's smoky, peaty. This gives me I'm getting more of a medicinal peat, more of a iodine kind of peat than a bonfire peat. So we're more towards the Lafroig end of the spectrum than we are towards the one of my favorite whiskeys, and I forget the name of it. I must be tired. I worked all night. Port Charlotte. So it's unlike a Port Charlotte. But wait, the peat seems to be fading fast. All right. The peat seems to be fading fast. And now to replace the peat, there is citrus. That's what happens with a lot of peated whiskeys. You get down a little bit past the peat and boom, you get citrus. I'm getting mostly lemon and lime. Something else I'm getting. I'm still getting some of that sweetness from what I think is PX sherry. A lot of lime. A lot of lemon. Oh, what's that other thing? It's something floral. It's like this is interesting. Very interesting. Floral and vanilla. The lemon lime smells almost like Irish Spring deodorant soap. Not in a bad way, mind you. Can't be Irish Spring, it's a Scotch whiskey, right? The whole thing is a Scotch whiskey advent calendar. But it is complex, it is changing. I'm getting a bit of along with my Irish Spring deodorant soap, I'm getting a bit of a meaty note. Can't tell what kind of meat it is. I'm speculating, maybe it's a shellfish rather than selfless. Let's see. I like how this is changing as it goes. It's giving me a spectrum of flavors. I think I'm getting some caramel underneath that, along with that Irish Spring soap and the vanilla and what else am I getting? Something that reminds me of fruitcake with lemon zest and some lime. Huh. This is curious. Curious that the peat and smoke disappeared right away. Very curious. Yeah, it does have legs, and they do go down. They kind of hang there for a while. Now you can see them better. I didn't add any water or anything. It just is. So I'm thinking that the ABV will be high. This is not going to be a weakling. I'd gather around 48-50%. Not more than that. Because as I learned a few days ago, that I got a blast of spice with, what was it, the Ochenagi? I think it was the Ochenagi. Got a blast of spice and nothing else. Or was the Ochenagi a bunch of wood? I think that was a bunch of wood And the Glenmorangie was spicy. Yeah. Yeah, the Glenmorangie 9-year-old was really spicy. No. This reminds me of perhaps a higher ABV version of Lafroig 15. It's got a lot of that lime in there. Of course, I'm repeating myself by now. Am I getting anything new out of it? As I breathe into the glass, as I exhale into the glass and take a sniff in, allowing some of the water vapor from my breath to react with the molecules of the whiskey, react with the molecules of the alcohol, and release some more of the scents. And I'm careful not to blow so hard that I get snot in my whiskey, okay? I'm getting more of that lemon lime Irish Spring. Now I'm getting a hint of Band-Aid underneath the whole thing. Fresh Band-Aid that was just taken out of the package and being stuck on my skinned knee by my mother when I'm 4 years old. Amazing how scents come back to you like that. There's something meaty there, but it's just on the edge of my perception. Most of what I'm getting is still that lemon lime, lemon zest, Irish Spring kind of thing right now. I think it's about time to taste it. Mm. Mildly peated. This was a peat that came on and then just went away. I saw somebody do a review last night of a whiskey. I think it was Brolic whiskey. And I think they were doing was it a Ardbeg 10? I'd have to check. But they were talking about the peat that comes on and then just disappears. I think a second sip is in order. And then I'm going to start playing around with water a little bit and see if that does anything. See, I'm getting peat again, but it's faint. A lot of citrus, lemon zest, a bit of orange, and some lime. Definitely a lot of lime. The lime and lemon is about half and half, and then there's just a little tinge of orange in there. So it's citrus for sure. Maybe even a bit of grapefruit. Fruity, fruity, fruity. Cleanse the palate. You know, maybe there's still a fair amount of peat in this, but because I'm accustomed to drinking things like Lefroy Glore and Ardbeg Kelpie and Lagavulin 12-year-old, if it's a lighter peat than that, it's easy for me to just go right past it and dig deeper. Now that I nose again, there is peat on the surface, but it's very easy to go past it. Okay, should I add some water? Let's give it about a quarter spoon. I'm curious to see if this gets any Scotch mist on it. Also curious to see what kind of casks. I'm still thinking Pedro Jimenez, but I could be completely wrong. As I've been known, or as I've been reminded a few times in this whole detour on the whiskey journey, that things don't always come out as straightforward or to be as they appear at first. If anything, this whole thing is teaching me how little I know about whiskey. And I've been doing this for 5 years, maybe a little longer. I think I started getting into it about 5 years ago, really starting to learn. Watching people like Ralphie, and Horst Leuning. And then the Scotch Test Dummies, started watching them. And since then, there have been so many channels coming on, especially in the last little while. A whole bunch of new channels. New channels every week. And there's no way that I'm subscribed to all of them. There's no way that I could watch them all. But if they look interesting and they don't annoy me, I'll watch them. It's an interesting hobby, creating videos and watching other people's videos and learning from them. And maybe some people learn a bit from me. Who knows? Yeah. On the nose, I don't get any peat anymore. But it's probably still there, however, I'm not perceiving it. The lemon and lime is still there. They are still there, but they are weaker than they were. I should have left this neat. Maybe there's a little more of the floral coming out. I'm still getting lime, not so much lemon anymore. And there's something meaty there. There's something meaty that was always there, but now maybe the other layers on top of it are peeling off. I'm trying to get it. Lime. Lots of lime. That same Irish Spring kind of thing. A little tiny hint of bacon or ham. But there's so much lime and so much of that in the way. It's hard to get past it. Well, I'm at the inevitable I hate when I can't speak. I'm at the inevitable point where I'm going to ask the question, what is this? Now a bit of brine, a little bit of vanilla. The brine and the lemon is a lot less strong now that the water's been added. Now the brine's coming through, which I wasn't getting before. The finish is dry. There's nothing really lingering, it's just a dryness. I got distracted. Now a bit of honey. This sucker's going to keep changing as I keep going, but we're well into the video now. I've asked the question already a couple times. What is this? I'm going to answer it right now. Regional Series Islay. Okay. It's from Creative Whiskey Company. Regional Series Islay, single malt Scotch whiskey. Cask type refill sherry, but it doesn't say which refill sherry. It says region Islay, and it's 50% alcohol by volume. Hey, I was pretty good with this one. Regionally, yes, this could represent Islay for sure. It's a single malt, yes. Cask type, refill sherry. And I'm sure some of that refill sherry is Pedro Jimenez, because I got that right away. It has sweetness, but the peat disappeared really fast, and it was more of a medicinal peat than a bonfire peat. Quite nice. In fact, I would not be surprised if this is some form of Laphroaig, because it's unmistakable. Either a Laphroaig or an Ardbeg. It doesn't have an age statement, so it doesn't have an age statement, but it's a weaker Islay. It's like a smokehead or the Islay, or what was the name of that castle there? There was one named after a castle. I keep thinking Napo Castle, but that's in Ireland. Finlagan. It's a bit like that. It's not a full pin, Octomore or Ardbeg or Lagavulin or Laphroaig. It's one of the more muted down ones. It's like one of those non-distillery statement bottles, like I was saying, Finlagan or Islay or Smokehead or something like that. It's not a bad dram. It's quite pleasant, actually. And there's the smoke coming in again from the bottom. Very nice. And Slancheva.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Food Quig.
Yeah.